AI technologies aren't truly autonomous. Behind the scenes, they depend on vast amounts of human labour. People who mine the raw materials, assemble the hardware, label enormous data sets, and maintain the thousands of machines in massive data centres. In this video, we'll uncover the hidden human work that keeps AI running, what these jobs are, and what it's like for the people who do them. In the previous video, we established how AI technologies like ChatGPT are actually socio-technical systems. They actually exist as networks of people and machines working together. And when we think about the people involved in this, two groups usually come to mind. On the one hand, high-profile figures like Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and on the other hand, the millions of users who interact with tools like ChatGPT, contributing data that helps improve them. But there's another largely invisible group, the workers behind the scenes who keep these systems functioning. And this brings us to an important contradiction, because while AI is often promoted as a way to automate or eliminate repetitive, low-skilled labour, many of these systems actually rely on a growing amount of precisely that kind of human work. To understand why AI systems require so much human labour, we need to look more closely at how they actually work. Most AI today is based on machine learning, where systems improve their performance by processing large amounts of data. But these systems don't learn like humans. They're designed to focus on one specific kind of data, like text, images, or audio, and to optimize one specific kind of task, such as identifying objects in a photo or generating written responses. This is why they're often referred to as narrow AI, something we covered in the previous video. But this is very different from the idea of artificial general intelligence, a system that could learn across domains and perform a wide range of tasks without being narrowly programmed. While AGI is still theoretical, some developers believe it's within reach if machines can one day train themselves, so we will return to that debate in a later video. For now though, narrow AI systems depend heavily on humans at both ends. People are needed to prepare and label the data that goes in and to review and evaluate the data that comes out, checking for accuracy, bias, safety, and context. And this is the paradox. Technologies that promise to replace repetitive human labour often depend on a growing amount of it. In their book Ghost Work from 2019, Mary Gray and Siddharth Suri examine the hidden human labour behind AI systems and show that much of it takes the form of gig economy work, short-term, task-based jobs managed by software rather than human supervisors. On platforms like Amazon Mechanical Turk, software, not a manager, assigns tasks, tracks performance, and handles payment. Workers log in, see a list of available tasks, and complete them, often without knowing who the client is or how their work fits into a larger system. These tasks include labeling data, moderating content, transcribing audio, and checking algorithmic outputs. And Gray and Suri argue that AI cannot function without this kind of human input, both to train systems and to intervene when automation fails. The people doing this work, what Gray and Suri call ghost workers, are often young, educated, and juggling multiple jobs. For example, over 70% of workers on Mechanical Turk hold an undergraduate degree. In many cases, AI is being developed with the aim of automating mundane tasks, but in reality, it's creating new digital assembly lines. Tasks are broken down into micro jobs and delivered on demand. Workers are treated as interchangeable components in a system governed by algorithms. There's often no personal communication either, just a stream of tasks and a software interface determining pay, timing, and performance. And because these systems are designed to obscure who is doing the work, these workers are not just performing hidden labour, they often feel invisible as well. A more recent study by Muldoon, Graham and Cant takes a closer look at the many different forms of labour involved in feeding the machine, the work that keeps AI systems functioning. They describe, for example, data annotators in Uganda who carefully label raw data, whether it's text, images, audio or video, so that AI systems have something to learn from. They also profile machine learning engineers in London who curate and prepare massive data sets drawn from the internet, books and social media. These engineers decide what to include or exclude and ensure that the data is in the right format for training. Then there are the technicians working in energy-intensive data centres, often in remote locations like Iceland, who maintain the physical infrastructure required to store and process AI models. The book includes several other chapters focused on different types of work that sustain AI as well. And it's important to note that there are many others who don't appear in the study, those mining the minerals used in AI hardware, for example, or assembling the hardware in factories around the world. We'll return to many of these issues in future videos, but for now I want to highlight something central to Muldoon, Graham and Cant's contribution, what it feels like to do one of these jobs, and this is what I want to illustrate in the next slide. Muldoon, Graham and Cant's book doesn't just map out the different jobs that power AI, it also gives a voice to the people doing that work. From the very first chapter, the authors describe the physical and emotional toll this labour can take. One striking example involved a content moderator in Nairobi working for a Meta contractor whose job was to screen flagged content. And one day she encountered footage of her own family in a car crash. And the book is filled with these types of tragic stories. As the authors write, workers in these moderation centres are continually bombarded with graphic images and videos and given no time to process what they're witnessing. They're expected to action between 500 and 1,000 tickets a day. And the authors assert that these stories were endless, with quotes from interviewees including, "I collapsed in the office, I went into a severe depression, I had to go to the hospital, they had no care for our well-being." These quotes are drawn from hundreds of interviews conducted across multiple countries and job roles, and together they reveal that this hidden labour isn't just invisible, it's often intensely harmful. These accounts of hidden labour naturally raise the question, what can be done to improve the conditions of those powering AI systems? And both books discussed in this video offer responses. In Ghost Work, Gray and Suri found that despite platforms being designed to isolate workers, many workers themselves were building informal networks to support one another. And these forms of collaboration proved crucial for navigating the opaque systems that they had to use and allowing them to share knowledge. And this is something we can support the growth of by advocating for worker forums, open access resources, and fair platform design that enables connection rather than fragmentation. They also highlighted platforms such as Lead Genius and Amara.org, who pursue a double bottom line of financial sustainability, but also the social good. Muldoon, Graham and Cant, however, take a more radical and arguably more realist approach because while they also call for better working conditions, they emphasise the structural difficulty of achieving reform within what they describe as a planetary labour market where tasks can be outsourced globally at a moment's notice. For these authors, the solution lies not just in reform, such as improved pay or transparency, but in reimagining the system altogether. They call for collective worker organisations across borders and ultimately for placing more power over the direction of AI development in the hands of workers themselves. It's a vision that's more transformative perhaps than the incremental reforms proposed in Ghost Work. But what do you think? A central aim of this video series is not only to critically examine how AI systems work and what issues they raise, but also to think proactively about how we, as a society, want these technologies to be developed. What should we expect from AI and what boundaries should we set? And in future videos, we'll return to the question of what an AI for good might look like. And if you're interested in exploring this further straight away, I'd recommend Dan McQuillan's book as a great starting point. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments.